Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. In today's class, you're going to need some light weights. Under 5 pounds would be great. I'm going to be using 2 pounds, but you can use heavier or lighter if you need. If you're using a heavier weight, make sure that you minimize the number of reps. Really focus on the form over the volume. And if you don't have weights, you can substitute using water bottles or cans of food, or you can forgo weights altogether and just use your arms. You will still get an excellent workout when we're using the weights, and we'll get started. Okay. For today's class, you need light weights. Anything 5 pounds or under will do. I have 2 pounds. If you have 1 pound, that's fine, or no pounds, or a water bottle or a can of chickpeas or something will also work. You don't need them yet, so you can leave them off to the side. And you're just gonna start sitting up nice and tall, either cross-legged, or you can come to sit on your knees, whichever is more comfortable for you, where you can sit nice and upright. I'm gonna sit on my knees. And then just grab gently, not like grab yourself aggressively, but just place your hands on the sides of your ribs. You can bring your fingertips in front and then your thumbs on the back side of your ribs. And then just let your shoulders relax. And then just notice if you're arching through your low back, and then just let your tailbone lengthen. So think about sending your tailbone towards your heels a little to give yourself some length in your low back. And then just let your head go and have it stacked right on top of your spine. And take a nice big inhale into your hands. Feel your ribs expand wide into your hands, into your thumbs behind you. So your rib cage is expanding in a 360-degree fashion. Inhale and then exhale. Feel your ribs knit towards one another. And then again, take a nice big inhale. Feel your ribs expand and then exhale. Feel your ribs draw towards one another and the contraction that happens in your abdominals when you do so. And then again, inhale. And exhale. And this time you're gonna inhale. Hold your inhale, bring your ribs, or your hands rather, onto the front of your ribs. And then as you exhale, feel your fingertips draw closer towards one another in the front. And then just leave your hands here, inhale, nice and wide to the side, and then exhale, feel your ribs draw towards one another. Last one, inhale. Feel your pelvic floor lift, crown of your head draws nice and tall. And then just feel the engagement through your abdominals, and then you're gonna come onto all fours. Have your knees right underneath your hips and your hands right underneath your shoulders. And then just take a nice big inhale, again, focusing on expanding your ribs in all directions. And then here, exhale, and feel your abdominals come slightly away from the floor as you draw your ribs towards one another. And then exhale, and then inhale. 2 more breaths like this. You can almost think about your hips connecting toward your ribs and your abdominals draw slightly up and in, and then exhale. Last breath like this, focused. And then keeping that engagement for the most part, you're gonna tuck your tailbone under, feel your hips draw up towards your ribs, and then round your spine up towards the ceiling and let your head drop towards the floor. And then you're gonna widen your sitting bones, let your abdominals descend slightly towards the floor, but still keep them connected. And then lift through your chest. So you're lengthening through the front of your chest, your collarbone, looking through your arms, and then tuck the tailbone under, start at the base of the spine and round all the way back up. And then come through into that arched position. Making sure to keep support through your abdominals so you're not just sinking down towards the floor. You can think more upper back extension than full back extension if this is uncomfortable on your abdominals. Last one, round your spine up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, coming through into that extension, nice and gentle to start. And then find a nice neutral spine. So the crown of your head is reaching towards the wall in front of you, tailbone behind you, and your abdominals are supported, ribs gently drawing in towards one another. You're gonna extend your right leg back behind you and just float that leg up. Hold here, take a breath in. And then exhale, float your left arm out. and extend. So opposite arm, opposite leg, and just hold here for 2 breaths. Noticing how much harder it is when you're not moving than when you are moving. One more breath, inhale, exhale, and then round your spine, draw your knee towards your elbow, and then extend long just to that neutral spine. Arm and leg are long, and then round underneath you, and extend. 2 more here. Last one. And then you're just gonna pause and extend. And then float your knee down underneath you and just hold your arm for a moment and then float it all the way down. Switching sides. So you're gonna start with your left leg extending out behind you. Lengthen it long towards the wall and back. Hold that leg for a moment. And then take a nice big inhale, exhale, float your arm up, extend your right arm now. And then hold here for 2 breaths. Try to keep taking those big 360 breaths, expanding your rib cage breaths, whatever you want to call them. And then next time you inhale, you're gonna round your spine, draw your knee towards your elbow, but they don't have to touch. And then extend long and round. And extend. 3 more. Going at your own pace, moving with your breath. 2. Last one. And then extend. Hold here for a second. Drop your knee. And then slowly lower your arm down. Bring your knees nice and wide. And then sit back onto your heels and reach your fingers forward. And then just think about descending your chest and your armpits towards the floor. Press your hands into the floor. And feel your sitting bones draw gently down, butt towards your heels. And then you're gonna come onto your left side and grab a weight if you'd like. You're gonna start with your shoulder right underneath your shoulder above your elbow, knees stacked one on top of the other, and you're just gonna open your top leg up into a clamshell, keeping your hips squared towards the front, and then lower it back down. So you're not opening and rotating your hip, just the leg is moving in your hip socket. 5 more. Breathing as you go. And then again, focusing on that rib to hip connection, and then the connection in the front of your ribs, drawing them towards one another. For 4, 3, 2, last one. And then extend that leg long. From here, you're gonna tap your leg down and lift it up. Lower and lift. And if you're sick of being on your forearm, you can also come down all the way onto your side for this, but we will be on our forearms again in a moment. For 4, 3, 2, last one, leave that leg long, flex at the hip, bring your leg forward, and then point and sweep it back slightly behind you, but again, keeping your hips nice and square. Flex and bring it forward, point and bring it back. Thinking about flexion through the front of the hip as you bring your leg forward, and then a little bit of extension just through the hip, but not the low back as you bring it back. 3 more. 2. Last one. Bring it back, lower it down. You're gonna come onto your forearm, but you're gonna bring your bottom leg underneath you. And from here, you have a couple of options. We're gonna lift up into a modified side plank, but you have an option of just lifting and lowering the hips, but keeping your bottom knee and top foot down, or you can come into a full plank here. So whichever you choose, I'm gonna keep my knee down to start. We're gonna do 8. Lift the hips straight up, as though someone has a little harness or a hip rope rather on your hip, and they're pulling you straight up towards the ceiling. For 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, stay lifted. If it feels okay, you're gonna lift your top leg up, tap it down, and lift and lower. You can bring your top arm up towards the ceiling if you'd like, keeping your shoulder right over your elbow for 3, 2, last one, keep it lifting. We're gonna do tiny pulses up for 8. If this is too much, just lower your hips. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, drop your knee down. And then just let your knees kind of separate and side bend up and over to the right, towards your legs. And then you're gonna plant your left hand down, side bend over to the left. And then come all the way up. We're gonna do one more set of little side plank things, but this is more of a stretch than anything else. You want your left shin to be in line with the long edge of your mat and your right shin in line with the short edge of your mat. So your left hand's gonna be planted on the floor and you're gonna lift up. So you're in like a little Z formation with your legs. Side bend up and over, and then you're gonna let your hips come back down. And then lift up, side bend up and over. Really thinking about breathing through the rib cage on that right side. And then stretching through the front of the hip. 2 more. Last one. And then come all the way down, and we're gonna switch sides. I said bring your weight with you, but I changed my mind of our order. So forearm or laying all the way down on your side, knees stacked one on top of the other. Find the connection in between your ribs and your hips. And then you're just gonna start with that little clamshell. Your range of motion can be as big or as small as you want it to be, your choice. But really thinking about stabilizing through the glute, through the hip on that left side. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. Extend the leg long. And then sweep the leg forward and sweep it back. And again, you can lay down on your side and sweep it back. And forward. And back. Lengthening the top arm if you choose. 4 more. 3, taking stock of your hips, making sure you're not arching through the back. You can always bring a hand to your low back. I find that to be very helpful, or to my hip. Last one. And then we're just gonna go up and down because I think I forgot that. Again, top arm can be lifted. Make sure you're pressing away from the floor with that bottom arm. Torso is lifted away from the floor, you're not sinking down. 3, 2, last one. Lower that leg down, but keep it long. Bring your knee on the right side back underneath you a little bit if you need, and then you're gonna lift into that side plank, full side plank, or the modified, your choice. And you're gonna lower down and lift for 8, 7, hips go straight up towards the ceiling, 6, 5, 4, 3, you can always do a variation, half and half, 2. Last one, hold at the top. Lift the top leg and lower for 7, 6, pressing away from the floor, 5, you can always lower your hips if you need, 4, 3, 2. Last one, keep it lifted and pulse for 8, 6, 5, ribs draw towards your hips, 3, 2, 1, lower all the way down. Separate your knees slightly, but bend them in, and take a nice side bend up and over to the left. And then side bend up and over towards the right. Once more to each side, really focusing on breathing into the little tiny intercostal muscles in between your ribs to create some little extra space. And then your left knee will stay where it is, but your right leg is gonna come forward. Right hand plants on the floor. Lift up and side bend up and over. And then tap your butt down towards the floor. Take your time and do this at your own pace. It should mostly just feel very nice. Obviously, things are working, but it should generally feel good. And if anything doesn't feel good, stop. Don't do it. Make your range of motion smaller. 1 more. And then lower all the way back down. And then you're gonna come to sit with your feet in front of you. Oh, Julio might grace us with his presence. Okay, so you're either gonna have your legs bent or long, or somewhere in between, your choice. And if you'd like, you can grab onto your weights And if you grab onto your weights, you're gonna make a little circle with your arms. If you want, press your feet down firmly into the floor, engaging through the backs of the legs, or you can have your whole foot pressed down, your choice. Sitting up nice and tall, you're just gonna curl back halfway, thinking about creating that space. I'm gonna skip my weights on this, creating that space in the front of your hips and stacking your spine up nice and tall. So think about tucking the tailbone under, like you're gonna place your sacrum on the floor first, ribs connect toward your hips, rounding through that spine, and stack your spine all the way back up. 3 more just like this. Two. Last one, you're gonna pause here. If you let go of your weights and you wanna grab them, you can. Either way, you're gonna have rounded arms like we just talked about. You're gonna open them out to the side and then feel your ribs draw in towards one another as you come to the center. And then open out to the side, exhale. Feel everything draw in. Out and for 6. You can always extend your legs if that feels better, or make your range of motion a little smaller. You can do this sitting up straight or almost up straight. 3. I think we only have 1 more. 1. And then pause, extend your arms long. Curl back half an inch. Curl up half an inch. Curl back half an inch. And up. You can really just think about connecting through the rib cage a little bit more. Ribs the hips just a little bit more for 4. 3, 2, last one, and then roll all the way up and over your legs. Plant your feet in front of you, and you're gonna take your weights in front of you if you have them. Actually, no, I'd rather do the standing. Put your weights down, and you're gonna roll all the way back. Bring your legs with you, and just pause on your back. Bring your hands to your ribs 1 more time, and then just take a nice big inhale, and then exhale. Check in with your breath, feel your ribs drawing towards one another. You can leave a hand on your ribs, but also bring a hand onto your stomach. Take a nice big inhale, and then exhale. Feel your stomach soften under your hand. It shouldn't press out and get hard. So it's trying to reduce the amount of pressure in your abdominals through using your breath and that connection of your ribs. So you can stay on your back, and you can bring your hands behind your head and curl your head, neck, and shoulders up, or you're going to plant your forearms on the floor like I'm doing. And if you're pregnant, you should do what I'm doing. And then bring your right leg into tabletop. Take a nice big inhale, and then exhale. Feel your abdominals descend, soften rather, your ribs connect, and bring your other leg up to meet it. And if you're feeling good and hands are behind your head, you're right here. Either way, you're gonna tap your right leg away from you. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, release. Exhale, bring it back in. Same exact thing on your forearms. Bring it back in. And then release. And in. Pressing through the forearms, lifting through the chest. If you're up on them like I am, and if not, pressing your head into your hands into your head. No one's chin should be glued to their neck, chest. Not a good look, not comfortable either. 2 more. Last one. Lower your right leg down. Right leg down. And you can have your head lifted or lower it, your choice. If you're on the ground, you're gonna extend your leg long, and you're just gonna start to do a leg circle. Across the center line and back up for 5, 4, if you're on your back, it looks like this, or this, 3, 2, hips are still, last one, and then reverse for 8, 7, right side is nice and still, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, lower that leg all the way to the floor. Thinking about reaching long, either out of the toe or the heel, doesn't matter, and then just float the leg up as you exhale. And then tap it almost all the way to the floor and lift it back up. Tap it almost to the floor and lift for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. Last one, Bend that knee in, press it straight out. Bend it in and extend. If you want, if your head is down, lift it up. So you'll be here, thinking about doing feet and strap, but only with one leg, or single leg footwork, 2. And last one, lower that leg all the way down and then bend it in, and your right leg is going to extend long. Circles on that right leg, keeping your hips nice and still. Excuse me. In, around, and up for 6. 5, using your breath to control the pressure and the softness of your abdominals and the connection of your rib cage for 3, 2, last one, and then reverse for 8, 7, 6. This class seems mostly lower body. I promise there will be plenty of upper body things. 3, 2, last one. Lower that leg all the way down. Reach through the toe or the heel, your choice, and then float it up and back down. Think about lengthening through both the front and back of the leg to float it up. And feel your pelvic floor engage. As you do so, you may even feel it higher up in your abdominals. Exhale, lift. 3 more. 2. Last one, pause with that leg lifted, bend it into 90, and then press it out. And bend, and press. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. And then bring that leg into tabletop. Float the other leg up to meet it. Take a breath in. Exhale. Find your abdominals. Head lifted if it feels good. And then extend both legs long and bend them in. And then extend and bend. Make sure that you're extending towards the ceiling or reducing the amount of straightening your legs you're doing. Maybe you only get your legs a little bit straight just to keep that pressure under control and nice and low for 4, 3, 2. Last one. Bend the knees in, lower all the way down regardless of where you are. Give your knees a little hug and gently rock back and forth from one side to the other on your back. Grab on behind your knees or come over to your side, and you're going to come to sit up nice and tall. Your choice on how you want to get there. And we're going to come onto all fours one more time. But this time, you're going to take a weight with you, and you're going to put it in between your knee and your hamstring, just like so. You can either be on your hands or your forearms, whichever is more comfortable for you. I'll probably alternate between the two, which is also fine. And if this is uncomfortable on your knee, fold your mat over on the left side to give yourself a little extra cushioning. And then from here, keeping your hips nice and square, you're going to float your right leg up. And then tap it down. And tap it down. For 8, 7, 6. Same thing still goes for abdominals. You can even give yourself an additional balance challenge if you need. Bring that left hand onto your abdominals. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower, or vice versa, whichever breathing pattern works for you. 3, 2, 1. Pause with your leg at the top. Thigh is more or less parallel to the floor, and you're going to lower it an inch and then lift an inch and lower and lift for 8, 7. And if you don't have a weight, you're doing the exact same thing because the weight doesn't really matter. Just makes things a little interesting. Make sure you're breathing. Shoulders are away from your ears. 2, last one. And then tap the left calf with your right knee. And then bring your leg back to parallel to that position you started in. So internally rotate ever so slightly, tap the calf, and lift. It's a pretty small move. 7 more. Hips stay square. You're only internally rotating from that femur in your hip socket for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, pause at the top. You have 8 more little pulses. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, drop that leg down. Take the weight out from underneath you. Again, forearms or hands, doesn't matter. Your right leg is coming back behind you one more time. Lengthen it long, straighten it, and lengthen it towards the ceiling, not towards the ceiling, towards the wall behind you. Crown of your head in the opposite direction, and then bring your leg over and down on the opposite side of the mat. And you're gonna lift it up to the center and then cross it over. Lift it up to the center, cross it over. Your spine stays nice and still and nice and neutral for 3, 2, and then your spine's gonna move in a minute. 1. So now tap your leg towards the outside of the mat, and then you're gonna lift it up, and you're gonna bend the knee in towards your right arm, and look at that leg. Extend it long, sweep it over, and then bend it in. Sweep it over, lift, and bend it in. 4 more. You can make this range of motion as small as works for you. You can do part of it. You can skip it. Whatever works. Last one. And then extend that leg long, lower it all the way down. And then whatever you need to do, shake your legs out. We're gonna switch sides. So now your weight is gonna come behind the left knee, which is as tired as the right leg from stabilizing. So again, hands or forearms, your choice. Either way, elbows are, and wrists if you're on your hands, right over your shoulders, underneath rather. All right, hips are nice and square. Lifting that left leg up, and then tap it right back down, and lift, and lower. Again, bring your hand to your abdominals. If you need, as a nice little reminder, and a little challenge. Also, moving a little slower will help, removing the weight and reducing your range of motion. 3 more. Neck is nice and long. 2. Last one, leave it at the top and pulse it up for 10. 8. Make sure your weight is not all the way over to the right. 3, 2, last one. Internally rotate, tap the right calf, and lift. Tap the right calf, and lift. And lift for 4, 3, 2. Last one, pulses for 8, 5, 4, 3, nice and tiny, 2. Last one, lower it down. Take that weight out from underneath your knee. And then you're gonna extend, sorry, my nose got very itchy. You're gonna extend your left leg long behind you. Tap it over to the right side of your mat, and then lengthen it up. And tap it over, and lengthen. Tap, lengthen. 2 more. 2. Last one. Now tap it over. Pause for a second, lift it up to the center, and then externally rotate, bend the elbow toward your upper arm, and then extend it long and tap it down. Lift, and then look. Again, modifying this in whatever way you need. You can also do this on your forearms. 3, 2. Last one. Leave that leg long, lower it down. You have 2 options. You can come onto your back, or you can sit with your feet in front of you. I'm just gonna sit up, bringing my hands back behind me. Cross your ankle over your foot. You're in that little figure 4 stretch. And then rock back and forth from one side to the other. Or try to sit up nice and tall. If you're on your back, actually either way, think about lengthening your tailbone into the floor to sit up nice and tall. And breathe. Those are killer on the glutes. And then switch sides. Back. rocking back and forth from one side to the other. When you find a spot that feels good or bad, whatever word you like to describe your stretching, breathe and think about lengthening the tailbone. 2 more breaths. And then you're going to come up onto, we're going to stand. And if standing is not particularly comfortable for you, you can do this in high kneeling or low kneeling, your choice. Your arms will get plenty heavy if you don't have weights, so no worries. You're going to start in a slight squat. So you want your knees bent and you want yourself in a nice straight line. So thinking about drawing the ribs towards the hips, connecting through the front of the body. Feet are hip distance, not shoulder distance. And you're just going to start with your arms sweeping long by your sides. So lift the palms and then lengthen the fingertips or the knuckles, either one, so that your wrists are nice and strong. And then sweep those arms forward in line with your shoulders and then sweep them straight back. And then lower them down and lift for 8, 7. Do a little pause at the top. 6. Again, your breath is super important here. Drawing your ribs together, your abdominals are still keeping you upright, kind of always. 2. Last one, pause with your arms back and then tiny pulses up for 8, 7, 6. Neck is nice and long, limiting the amount of tension in it. 3, 2. Last one, bend the elbows, keep the elbows pointing back and then press through with the palms. Elbows stay still, lift and press. Think like I'm standing behind you, holding your upper arm in place, elbow in place, and you're reaching your elbow into my hand as you bend and keeping the reach as you extend. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one, hold the arms, lower down, tiny pulses for 8, 7, 6, and then we're gonna go triceps breath, break. 3, 2, last one. Stand all the way up, shake your arms out for a second. We're gonna come into that same athletic stance position. And you're just gonna reach your arms up overhead and then pull your elbows down wide. If you need to straighten your knees again, or come onto your knees, do what works for you. Finding that connection is the most important thing so you're supported in whatever move that you're doing. Arms lengthen towards the ceiling. Bend and lengthen through the elbows like you're reaching nice and wide. Lengthen and bend. And lift. And bend. Thinking about opening up through the elbows as you lengthen your arms towards the ceiling. 3, 2, last one. Pause with your arms here. Pitch forward and stand up if that is comfortable. You're gonna reach your right leg back. And you're just gonna extend your left arm and bend it back in. Left arm lifts. Right arm stays still, or bring it by your side if this is too much. For 4, 3, 2. Last one, switch sides. Left leg goes back, just your right arm moves for 8, 7. Do whatever works with your left arm. 4. Now 3, I miscounted. 2, last one, lower your arms down, bring your feet into your athletic stance and then pitch your torso forward. If you can stand up for this one, highly recommend. Bring your right leg back. Just have the toes on the floor. You're gonna let your arms come so that you're hanging in front of you, and you're gonna lift through the leg as you lift the arms nice and wide. And then tap the leg down, exhale, lift the arms. Like you're doing a little row here. For 8, 7. You can always leave the toes down, or you can leave the leg in the air the whole time with just a little pulse without touching the floor. For 3, we're gonna do the other side. 2, last one. Lower the leg down, stand up, shake the legs out. Shake the arms out too if you need. Switch sides. Find that athletic stance. Ribs are connected towards your hips, arms in front of you. Extend your back leg behind you, back leg, your left leg. Find the connection in the front. Lengthen the leg, lift the arms, lower down. Like you're elbowing someone back behind you. Stay small. And again, leave the leg up, keep it down. Whatever challenge works for you. 3, 2. Last one. Lower the legs down. Come down onto a seat, into a seat, not onto a seat. It's not a word. I guess it is a word, but anyway. Reach your fingertips long. Reach your weights long. Soft bend in the elbow, and then you're just gonna lift your arms straight up and then lower back down. Thinking about sitting up nice and tall. Lengthen the arms just to shoulder height. And lengthen. Soft bend in the elbows so you're not hyperextending. Arms should be slightly in front of your shoulders. You can bring them a lot in front of your shoulders if that's more comfortable. We have 4 more. Exhaling. As you lift, finding the support of your torso as you do so. Last one. And lower all the way down. Bring your weights over to the side. You'll be able to use them one more time if you're feeling crazy, but that will come at the end when we do some planks. For now, everyone can come onto your backs. Move your ponytail out of the way, so if you have one, so your head rests flat on the floor. And then bring your arms by your side. You can have them a little wider than your mat if that's comfortable. And then just take a big inhale. Feel your shoulders kind of roll in towards one another like you're kind of caving your chest in. And then exhale. Feel your collarbone open and your whole shoulder blade find the mat. Really thinking about opening through both the front and the back. And if you find this to be helpful, we're gonna do bridging. You can bend at the elbow and think about pressing down through the shoulders and the arms. As long as you're not lifting your spine in the center, that can be nice as opposed to just keeping your hands down flat on the ground. Either way, knees are in line with your hips, feet in line with your knees. Press your feet into the floor, inhale, and on your exhale, feel your ribs draw, or hips draw towards your ribs. Press your low back gently into the mat, and then peel yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time into a little bridge. Coming as high up as feels good. Making sure your collarbone is nice and wide. Don't sacrifice your form for height because no one can see you. And lower all the way down. Well, I guess even if we could see you, don't do that. It's not worth it. And press into your feet. Curl the hips towards the ribs and peel yourself up. Just nice, 1 vertebrae at a time. And lengthen through the low back and lift all the way up. We're gonna pause here at the top. And then you're gonna keep your knees pointing forward. You're gonna drop your right hip, dip your left. Rib cage stays square to the ceiling. And then over to the other side. Just rotating the pelvis around the femur and around the spine. It should generally feel nice. It doesn't need to be very big. 1 more time each side. And then square your hips in the center. And then think ribs and knees again. Stay still, but think about shifting your hips over to the right, like they're the, I forget what it's called, the thing on top of a typewriter that slides from one side to the other. Keep reaching through the knees. And then back to the center. 1 more to the right. Just shifting laterally, hips stay square. Last one. And then come back to the center. You can drop your hips into a neutral pelvis and let them lower towards the floor. You can let your butt just touch the floor and then press through the feet, extend the knees away, lengthen through the front of the thighs and lift. We're just gonna do 6 more small pulses. If the neutral pelvis doesn't feel good, think about tucking the tail under and drawing the hips up more towards the ribs to peel you up. That works too. 4 more. 3. Last one. Find the place where it feels good to hold for a minute. If it doesn't feel good, drop your hips. That works too. We're gonna do a little more marching, lifting the right leg, hips stay square, lift the left. And lower down. We're gonna do 3 on each side. 2. This is the last one. This may have been 4 on each side. All good. Curl the tailbone under, lift the hips up to whatever your highest comfortable point is. Then take a nice big inhale. And then exhale. Peel yourself all the way down again, 1 vertebrae at a time. Bring your knees into your chest and gently rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then come onto your right side. Here is where you can take the weight if you're feeling crazy. You have 3 options actually of modifying your plank. We're gonna do 1 more round of side planks, and you're either gonna be in the same side plank position that we were in before, you're gonna look like this, or you can be all the way up on your knee and your hand, whichever feels more comfortable, or you're going to be in a full side plank. Dealer's choice. I'm gonna take this one. So find your side plank. Lift up and hold. If you want to grab onto your weight, do so now. Lift your arm up towards the ceiling and then bend your knee towards your elbow and then extend your arm overhead, extend your leg. Bend the elbow towards the knee and extend. And bend in and extend. 5 more. 4, hip stays totally still. The only thing moving is your leg and your arm and your abdominals because you're breathing. 2. Last one, lower all the way down, the knees separate, and just do 1 gentle little side bend here. And then come over to the other side. We're gonna finish with, I'll do a different version on this side, why not? Do whatever version works for you on whatever side works for you. Lift that top leg, find your side plank. Engage through the abdominals, extend the arm, extend the leg, bend it in, and extend. Bend, and extend. Nope, this doesn't feel good. Bend, much better. For 5, 4, 3, breathing as you go. You can also do this with your hip on the ground. 2, last one. Extend, drop the knees, and side bend up and over towards the left side. Move your weights all the way out of your way. Come onto all 4s. Tuck the knees, not tuck the knees, tuck the toes under. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, float the knees up. And then lift the hips into a down dog. Walk your feet back a little if you need. You can also have your legs like crazy, crazy bent, doesn't matter. And then inhale, and then exhale, come back to that all 4s position, or if it's comfortable, the bear plank. Lift back up into down dog. Exhale, find your bear plank or knees to the ground. 1 more time, lift up. And then inhale, find your bear plank hold for 1 breath. And then lower all the way down. Take a child's pose here for a moment. We have 1 more thing to finish class with. And that would be a plank / push-ups. Ignore the push-ups if you don't want to do the push-ups. I'm going to do it on my knees, but if you are on your feet, I will talk you through both. So either way, come into a modified plank position. Everyone's gonna start here. Tuck your tailbone under, feel your ribs drop, connected towards your hips. And then if you want to, tuck your toes under, lengthen through the heels, lengthen through the crown of your head, and just open up through the back of the legs. you'll find yourself in a very nice supported push-up or plank position. If not, press your feet into the ground, take a nice big inhale, exhale, elbows bend back behind you, and then exhale, press up. Inhale as you lower down, and exhale, press up. Only going as low as feels comfortable, or you're just gonna hold your plank. We're gonna do 4 more. 2. Last one. Everyone's gonna tuck their toes under, lift your hips up into a down dog, bend your knees if you need. Walk your legs out, whatever feels good, and then walk your hands back towards your feet. And then just let your head be heavy. Grab opposite arm, opposite elbow, or just let your arms be long, whatever is comfortable. And just walk around to the right. And then walk around to the left. Your head nice and long. Think crown of the head towards the floor. Once more in each direction. And then bend the knees a bunch. Tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine. Think ribs to hips. And then peel yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time. Your head will be the last thing to lift. And lift your arms all the way up. Take a nice big inhale. Feel your ribs connect toward your hips so you're not in a back bend. Externally rotate the arms, palms face away, press down. Lift through the crown of your head like you're a little corkscrew. Then press down through the arms. 1 more inhale. Exhale, let your arms find your side. And you're all finished. Sorry for this. Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica.